so many of you guys were concerned about the iguana ban that has not become law yet.
It looked like something gonna pass. I didn't know it was gonna come this quickly.
The problem with banning them completely is you're also gonna make criminals out of people who may own these animals. Here's a big redfoot. Hey little buddy, if the Pectoral Scoot meet at the midline, then it is the Burmese black. And these are just some very simple enclosures. Oh, I know this view all too well. The aquascape guys are in town. They're hanging out here at Iguana Land. And I had to drive up today to help out the guys because they needed some aquatic plants. And well, I brought them all the plants, so.
Thank you to our amazing supporters who help to make this show possible every week. Your support makes a real difference in our efforts here at Kamp Kenan. This week's shout out goes to Allison Markham. Thank you for all you do and for loving reptiles.
These guys are working. Of course, we're at Tide Park's Iguana Land, and we are in the midst of some serious construction. But I'm going to be getting to some questions. Actually, a question in particular from Seth Isaacson, one of our Patreon supporters. But before I do that, I wanted to chase down Ty and see if he had a little bit of time with all that he's got going on, since we actually did a video with him not too long ago this week. And I wanted to kind of follow up because so many of you guys were concerned about the iguana ban that's happening here in Florida. And I thought, you know what? You guys have asked for it. I'm going to give him to you. There he is. He's earned the right to sit down for a little bit because, as we've seen in the videos, the man's been running around like crazy. But I'm going to bend his ear just for a moment. So many viewers were concerned about the iguana ban happening here in Florida, if it in fact happens. It has not become law yet.
Right.
But, you know, the way to combat that is to email and call your senators, even if you're not from, look at this, guys. Pond building can be dangerous from time to time. Anyhow, they're trying to get the gravel into this wetland filter. So anyway, back to the ban.
Hold up.
Here we are. So what do you think's going on? Let's move away for a second, if you don't mind, because I really want people to understand what's going on, and there's a lot of chaos with the pond build. So, Ty, what are your thoughts about what's going on with the ban?
Well, right now it looked like something gonna pass, right? I don't think it's gonna pass as it's written right now. I think the bill's gonna get weakened. Maybe they're gonna put in some kind of rule with licensing, maybe, to keep the iguanas. Economically, there are a lot of iguana breeders here, right? And but I don't think some of the senators understand the economic impact. So I think part of the bill will pass. I've been thinking about this for at least last couple of years, about the ban, what's going on in Florida, what's all the invasive and all the public opinions and stuff. So one of the reasons why I've started building this zoo is exactly that. I breed a lot of iguanas, right? As you know, the cycloras and iguana too. And I kinda
Hold on one second. I'm sorry, it's just very loud, but
yeah, the ban that was going to come, and I didn't know it was gonna come this quickly. So having the zoo would allow me, even though they stopped me from breeding iguanas, it would allow me to keep doing what I'm doing with the income that's generated by the zoo. I could do the educational things that I've been doing. I could go do the conservation work. So I kind of foresaw this a little bit,
yep.
But I didn't think it was going to come this quick.
Gotcha.
So we are prepared ourselves. I don't know about the rest of the breeders in the Florida. I feel really bad about it. I mean, I already told everyone that we are getting rid of all our breeder head roots as of this year. So yeah, so this is the reason why I'm going to the next step. I'm trying to always stay ahead of the game.
right.
So building this iguana land is part of that.
All right, well, very cool. I appreciate you taking the time to answer that. He's so busy right now. I just know a lot of you guys were worried about that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of add my own thoughts about this ban. It's kind of a double-edged sword. We cannot have invasives running around. We've got a lot of iguana here in Florida. You guys know that. And what happens is you know, anytime you have a species that's out of place, it's going to be a problem. But the problem with banning them completely is you run the risk of stopping people that have made an income trapping these animals. Now there's no incentive for them to trap them. And you're also going to make criminals out of people who may own these animals, which is a problem. So they have to be really careful how the law is in fact worded, because what happens when people cannot keep these animals, as you can see, here's some tortoise enclosures, and this is only for the green iguana, by the way, and the tegus. So Cyclora and Satinosaur, spiny tail iguanas, are not going to be affected. But what I was saying is if somebody then becomes a scofflaw or an outlaw, they're going to release these animals. What about all those breeders? Now they are stuck feeding animals they don't care about or they can't make money off of. It's very tough. So I hope those people don't just euthanize them or kill the animals. That would be a problem. Okay, well, we have another question to get to, and I just really wanted to get that one out of the way because so many of you guys have been asking about it. But today, I got a question. What size should a tortoise be before it is reasonably safe outside without an enclosed lid in the habitat? Can you walk us through an ideal outdoor setup for a small group of redfoots, such as height, depth of walls, amount of sunshade, good plants for those up further north, etc.? Seth Isaacson. All right, Seth. Now, Iguana Land is not just home to iguanas. Good old Ty's got a lot of really cool animals here. We're walking through some of the tortoise pens, and you can kind of see here's some redfoot tortoise right here, and you can see the height of the walls. Okay, they're about 18 inches, and Ty uses these steel roofing or aluminum roofing to kind of get those things going. On the other side, we've got mountain tortoise. I believe these are, let's see, I'm gonna manhandle them. Hey, little buddy, they're so friendly, these tortoises. Let's see if what subspecies they are. Okay, this is no, wait, it looks, that's a tough one for me to tell, but it looks like ferri. Let's see if I can tell from this way. The way you tell between the brown mountain tortoise and the black mountain tortoise is where the pectoral scoots meet. If the pectoral scoots meet at the midline, then it is the Burmese black. So I believe these are Burmese blacks from looking at them. You can see this is a nice sized tortoise. There's no predator, no bird of prey is able to carry this animal out. I wouldn't think anything beyond a tiger or a lion could get these guys. So this is a nice size to let out. Back over here, we've got the redfoot tortoise. Again, the shell's well developed and it is well strengthened. Okay, it's really good bridge here. This animal is fully calcified, so no predator is going to be able to get at him as well. So I always say, you know where you live. If you have problems with raccoons, take the initial precautions or take some preventative measures. Here's a big redfoot. That's a really nice, it looks like a female. Yeah, that's a female. There's no concavity on the plastron, but that's a really big girl, huh? And these are just some very simple enclosures. Everything's getting an upgrade here at Iguana Land, but you can see, I would imagine these are about, it looks like they're about 10 by 10 enclosures. Here's a quick little hide box. There are the other tortoises kind of hanging out in there. Some males, some more females, but you can see how big they are. I say that a redfoot or any other tortoise, once it gets, and let me see if I can, once it gets from maybe this scoot to that scoot, well defined, a dog or raccoon isn't really to pry their legs out. So I'd say about 8 inches, full, like straight line. 8 inches is a pretty good size for a tortoise to be allowed to be outside without any kind of cover. Now this is just a sunshade. This isn't actually any kind of predator proofing. So you can kind of understand what's going on here. I'm just kind of curious what other tortoises he's got running around in these enclosures. And Ty's a really good friend and he allows me to kind of poke around. What do we got? Looks like yellow, oh, there's another, that looks like a Burmese mountain tortoise as well. That looks like a brown. I can't really tell. I don't know if these lift off. Yeah, they do. Look at that. Yes, it is. That's a Burmese brown mountain tortoise. Very, very cool. So lots of tortoise species here. But you can see, just to get an idea, some of the plants growing up in here. We've got some elephant ear. We've got some philodendron or monstrosa, I believe. Let's see who's over here. See who's inside. I love that I'm just perusing. Oh, we know who these are. How about some elongated tortoise? Now, you notice how there's more coverage here, right? Got the sunshade, you got the plant coverage, because these guys are a true forest dwelling species, and basically they love that canopy. Whereas redfoots, believe it or not, redfoots I like to call kind of an intermediary species. The redfoots can be on the fringes of grasslands and forests, whereas something like a yellowfoot or the mountain tortoise is going to be a fully forested tortoise. And as well, we also are going to have a forested species like the elongata. Nobody in there. Very, very cool. But you can kind of see the elongated tortoise is a little bit smaller. And I did have an issue with some raccoons that were able to hurt my elongated tortoise. So you got to make sure you have electric fence. No tortoise is going to be 100% safe depending on the tenacity of the predator that's going for it. How hungry is this animal? Does this animal really have an interest in getting at least a leg or a head? And raccoons are tough, man. They'll eat a leg right off a tortoise. They'll eat the heads right off the tortoise. There's another, looks like a cherry head in there. Oh, let's not break Ty's place. It looks like a cherry head though, that's what that was. So really, really cool. We got some hibiscus planted out in here. So it's a very, very simple, look at that, some more black mountain tortoise, really beautiful. And let's see, I want to really show you guys the difference here. So you can see this scoot, it meets right here in the midline. This is called the Pectoral Scoot, and it meets in the midline. On the brown mountain tortoise, this comes to here, and then there's a line, there's a seam that connects in the midline. The scoots don't actually touch in the middle. But fair eye are a beautiful species, one of the most ancient tortoise species on earth when you're dealing with the skull morphology. Taxonomists have definitely studied that species, and they've come to see that it's a very, very ancient lineage of tortoise. It's also what's called a monotypic genus, which means there's only there's only one genus in Minoria. Okay, so one species rather in Minoria. Okay, there you go. Lots going on here. We've answered a couple of questions. Seth, thank you so much for your support on the Patreon page. All you guys, thank you very much for watching. We try and educate here. There's going to be so many more videos coming from Ty's place because we spent a lot of time with him, and there's so many animals here that we could focus on. And it's always great to have Ty as a friend to allow us to come here and help educate, because again, that's what Iguana Land's going to be about. Education and really sharing the love for these species of animals. So if you get down to Punta Gorda in South Florida, definitely check out Iguana Land, because as you can see, he's got a lot going on, lots of improvements that you guys are really going to enjoy. All right, I'll talk to you again real soon. See you later.